Hello, I'm Savage and welcome to Source Speed. This is the first video in my generic MTG series, where I will be making custom MTG cards from characters and story of my interests. On today's menu is Nekros from the game Warframe. Warframe is a free shooter game which you should check out. Let me know if you want me to cover this game in a separate video. But let's look at what we have in this video. We'll look at Nekros' abilities in action and then go through some data from existing RPG cards to see what abilities he would have as a card. Well, without further ado, let's begin. Now, Nekros has several abilities. Passive. Restore 5 health on enemy death within 10 meters. Kind of a meh ability, but he does have some juicy active abilities. Speaking of which, Soul Punch. You punch the soul out of an enemy, causing a massive knockback and some damage, with affected enemies being cursed to come back as shadow NPC allies if killed within 3 seconds. 2. Terrifying. Simple ability, afflict enemies within a radius with fear, so they flee from you for a while. 3. Desecrate. More loot from enemies, which is an amazing ability for a game with farming. 4. Shadows of the Dead. The best one, where killed enemies come back to life as shadows to battle your enemies, like in Soul Punch, but you summon up to, in my case, 7 enemies. The last one is the juiciest and will be the main ability of the card. Let's see some of these abilities in action. Doing the how desecrate. There's a lot of enemies. Wow, that was fun. Let us move on to the next part of the video, the MTG part. So, what did we learn about Nekros? Primarily, he has to do a lot with souls and bringing the dead back to life and plundering their corpses. That is all very black MTG color, but I will make an argument to include another color to his color identity. Now, to his keyword ability, honestly it was a battle between Fear and Menace, which both fit the Terrify ability. Let's remember how combat works. A creature can attack a player, and that player can assign their own creatures as blockers, and then the attackers and blockers fight. Now that we've all caught up, let's see the keywords. Fear means only black and artifact creatures can block an attacking creature with fear. Menace means to block an attacking creature with menace, you need to assign at least 2 blockers. Now, what we want Nekros to do is to kill enemy creatures, and fear provides like an anti-synergy for that purpose. So from a design standpoint, it makes more sense to give him Menace, which increases the amount of damaged creatures. Let's look at the graph of colors and keywords made with a program by Reddit user u/normcha. Their Reddit post and program on GitHub will be in the description below. I had to make some adjustments to make it work, but the results are pretty good. Now, Menace is primarily a black keyword. Interestingly enough, there is a lot more red than I expected, again validating the black color identity we have for Nekros. Now let's talk about Shadow of the Dead as an activated ability. The idea behind it would be, in my opinion, taking dead enemies from graveyards of opponents and placing them on your board as spirits. Let's look at cards that do similar things. Field of Souls. If someone dies, make a spirit. Afterlife Insurance. Draw a card. If your creature dies this turn, make a spirit. Beacon Apparition. Exile a card from a graveyard, make a spirit. Funeral Pyre. Exile a card from graveyard, owner gets a spirit. And finally, a Storm of Souls. Return all creatures from graveyards to board, but they are spirits. Specifically, your creatures to your board. The last one is what inspired me to make my own version. Now, if you've been paying attention, all of these cards have white in their color identity, and they do similar stuff to what we want to achieve, so Nekros would be assigned a white/black color identity. Let's see the finished product. Nekros, 2 generic, 1 white, 1 black. Creature, Warframe. 3 power, 4 toughness. Menace. Shadows of the Dead. For 1 generic, 1 white, 1 black. For each opponent, return up to 1 target creature card from their graveyard that left the battlefield this turn to the battlefield under your control, except it's a 1/1 black and white spirit in addition to its other types. Activate this ability only once per turn at sorcery speed. Let me break it down. So it costs 4 mana, 1 of which is white, 1 of which is black. The activated ability costs 3 mana, 1 of which is white, 1 of which is black. And for each opponent, we look at their graveyard, we take a creature card from it, we put it on our board as our creature, but it's a 1/1 black and white spirit in addition to whatever it was also. And this, if you're playing Commander, for example, with 3 other people, that's 3 creatures for a price of 3 mana. But well, you have to kill them first. For example, like a board wipe, asymmetric board wipe, white has some stuff and black also has some stuff that does that. And of course I made it an activated ability which triggers only once per turn to not make it too busted, because it's already only costs 3 mana, and it would be kinda too much if you had like infinite mana and had ability to take all the creatures from all the graveyards on your battlefield. And activated sorcery speed means that it can be only played at the main phase of the turn, of your turn. That card went through several versions to get to where it is right now, and I'm very happy with the result. Now, what is your opinion of the card? Please leave a comment below if you liked it or have some suggestions on it, what maybe wants to change something about it. I will be back with another Warframe custom card soon, but for now, thank you for watching and bye bye!